I never thought I'd find myself in a situation like that, standing in a quiet living room, staring at a check for $75,000, offered by the parents of the woman I love. It was a Tuesday afternoon. The sky outside was calm, but inside their house, the air felt heavy. Her father placed the check on the glass coffee table like it was nothing. Her mother sat on the edge of the couch, her hands folded tightly in her lap. "You're a decent man, Daniel," her father said. "But this isn't going to work. You and our daughter come from different worlds. This," he tapped the check with 2 fingers, "is a chance to walk away clean. No hard feelings." I looked at the check for a long moment. I could hear the soft tick of the clock on the wall. My heart was beating so loud I was sure they could hear it too. $75,000. That was more money than I'd ever seen in one place. It could pay off my business loan, fix the old car I'd been nursing for years, maybe even get me out of the tiny apartment that leaks when it rains. But all I could think about was her. The way she smiles when she's nervous. How she sings to herself when she's cooking. How we stay up talking about everything and nothing until 3 a.m. I looked at her parents and said quietly, "I'm not for sale." Her mother gasped. Her father narrowed his eyes. I stood up, my hands shaking a little, but my voice was steady. "I love your daughter. I'm not going to walk away from her just because you think I'm not good enough." I left the check untouched on the table. I didn't know what would happen next. I didn't know what she would say when I told her. I didn't even know if I'd still be welcome at the next family dinner. But I knew one thing for sure: I wasn't going to trade love for money. I drove straight to her apartment. The whole way there, my mind raced with what I was going to say. Part of me was still in shock. Who does that? Who tries to buy someone out of a relationship like it's a business deal? When I walked in, she was on the couch, wearing her favorite hoodie, scrolling on her phone with her legs tucked under her. She looked up and smiled when she saw me, but the smile faded fast when she saw my face. "What happened?" she asked, sitting up straight. I closed the door behind me and leaned against it for a second. "Your parents offered me money to leave you." She blinked. "What?" "They gave me a check. $75,000. Said I should take it and walk away." She stared at me, like she wasn't sure if I was joking. "Are you serious?" I nodded. "Dead serious." Her hand went to her mouth, and for a moment, neither of us spoke. I watched her eyes, first confused, then angry, then sad. "I can't believe they'd actually do that," she said quietly. "I knew they didn't like how we met, or that you didn't come from a certain background, but I didn't think they'd go that far." I walked over and sat beside her. "I told them no. I didn't even touch the check." She looked at me, then really looked at me, and I could see the storm behind her eyes. "You shouldn't have had to go through that. I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. But I needed you to know. I didn't want to keep it from you." She reached for my hand, and for a moment, we just sat there in silence. The kind of silence that's not empty, but full of thoughts, of emotions too big to put into words. Her fingers curled around mine tightly, like she was afraid to let go. Then she whispered, "What do we do now?" I didn't have an answer. Not yet. All I knew was that we had to face whatever came next together. Just then, her phone buzzed on the table. It was a text. From her mother. Her eyes locked on the screen. Then she looked at me again. "They want to talk," she said. "Both of them. Tonight." We didn't say much on the way there. The car ride was quiet, but not cold. She held my hand the whole time, like she was anchoring both of us. I could tell she was nervous. Her knee bounced slightly, and she kept fidgeting with the sleeve of her hoodie. Honestly, I was nervous too. I'd already stood up to them once. But this time, it wasn't just about me, it was about us. When we pulled into the driveway, the porch light was already on. Her parents' house looked the same as it always did: neat, polished, perfect. But tonight it felt like we were walking into something heavier than just a conversation. They were waiting in the living room when we stepped inside. Her mom stood when she saw us, smoothing her skirt with both hands. Her dad didn't get up. He sat in the same chair he had earlier that day, legs crossed, face unreadable. "Thank you for coming," her mom said stiffly. We sat on the couch across from them. No one spoke for a long second. Then her dad broke the silence. "So, I assume you told her." "I did," I said. My voice came out even though my chest was tight. She deserved to know. Her mom looked at her daughter. "Sweetheart, we weren't trying to hurt you. We were just protecting you." "From what?" she asked sharply. "From love? From a man who's never lied to me, never disrespected me, and never treated me like I'm someone to be managed?" Her mom blinked. "We've seen people like him come and go. We didn't want you to throw your life away." "I'm not throwing it away," she snapped. "I'm choosing it. Choosing him." Her dad sighed, leaning forward. "You don't understand what marriage really demands. It's not just about feelings. It's about stability. About family legacy. About knowing that 20 years from now, you're not stuck wishing you made a better choice." I clenched my jaw but kept calm. "I'm building something real. My business isn't flashy, but it's honest. Everything I've got, I earned. Maybe I don't fit the picture you had in mind for your daughter, but I love her. And I'm not going to disappear just because you think I should." The room fell into a deep, heavy silence. Her father stared at me for a long time, then turned to his daughter. "If you walk out with him tonight," he said slowly, "you're choosing him over this family." She didn't even blink. "Then I choose him." Her mother gasped quietly. Her father's face hardened, but his eyes flickered, just for a second, with something that almost looked like regret. We stood up. My fiancé, my future, reached for my hand again. And as we turned toward the door, I couldn't help but wonder, was this the beginning of our freedom, or the start of something much harder? The car ride home felt like both a victory and a funeral. She didn't cry. Neither did I. But the silence between us was different this time, not tense, not awkward, just full of everything we'd just walked away from. Her parents hadn't called or texted since that night. No angry messages. No tearful apologies. Just silence. It was like we'd been erased from their world in a single sentence, "Then I choose him." We moved in together the following week. Her lease was almost up, and my apartment, though small, had space for two if we didn't mind sharing drawers and tripping over each other in the kitchen. We didn't care. It was ours. The first few weeks were strange. Sweet, but strange. Some mornings she'd wake up with red eyes and tell me she'd dreamed of her mom calling. Other days she'd laugh so freely, like a weight had been lifted. "I feel like I can finally breathe," she said once, while folding laundry. "Even if they hate me right now. I'm finally living for me." I started working longer hours at the print shop, taking more orders, pushing harder to grow. She started painting again. She hadn't picked up a brush in nearly a year. One night, I came home to find canvases spread across the living room floor, colors everywhere, and her dancing barefoot between them with music playing low. We were happy. Or at least, trying to be. But not everything was perfect. The wedding planning hit a wall. Her parents weren't speaking to us, and without them, there were gaps, people we wanted to invite who wouldn't come, traditions that felt suddenly too painful to carry on. Her younger sister stopped answering texts. Her aunt, who used to send her homemade cookies every month, unfollowed her on social media. It hurt her more than she said. I could see it in the way her smile faded when we talked about guest lists or seating charts. She didn't say it, but I knew she was mourning something. A version of her life she thought she'd have. One night, I found her sitting on the balcony, a blanket around her shoulders, just staring out into the dark. "I keep thinking," she said quietly, "about my dad. About how he just let me go. Like I was a deal he could walk away from. I sat beside her and wrapped my arm around her. He didn't walk away because you weren't worth it. He walked away because he couldn't control you anymore. That's different. She didn't answer, but she leaned her head on my shoulder. We stayed like that for a long time. Then, one Sunday morning, something unexpected happened. A letter arrived. No return address. No fancy envelope. Just our names, written in her father's handwriting. At first, we just stared at it. It was sitting on the kitchen table, unopened. Neither of us had touched it. The handwriting was unmistakable, sharp, formal, almost stiff. Her father's. She ran her finger along the edge of the envelope but didn't move to open it. You want me to read it first? I asked gently. She shook her head. No. If it's from him, I need to see it for myself. She opened it slowly, carefully, like it might break if she moved too fast. Inside was a single sheet of paper, folded twice. She unfolded it and began reading silently, her face unreadable. I watched her eyes move left to right, back again, then freeze halfway down the page. When she reached the bottom, she read it again. Slower this time. Then she handed it to me without a word. I took it, heart pounding. This is what it said. Dear Emily, I've spent weeks trying to find the right words. The truth is, I may never find them. What I did offering him money to walk away wasn't just wrong. It was cruel. But I thought I was protecting you. I thought love needed rules, boundaries, the kind that came from experience and fear. I see now that what I was really protecting was my own pride. When you walked out, I told myself you'd come back once the world proved me right. I kept waiting for the call that said you'd made a mistake. That call never came. Instead, I've seen you live your life, quietly and bravely, without the safety net I always assumed you'd need. And I'm starting to realize, maybe you didn't need one at all. Maybe you just needed us to believe in you. I don't know what kind of father I've been these last few months. But I do know I don't want to stay this kind, the kind who lets pride stand in the way of love. I'd like to meet. No conditions. No expectations. Just me. You. Maybe him too, if he's willing. If you're not ready, I understand. But if there's still a place in your life for a father trying to learn how to let go, I'd like to earn it back. Dad. When I looked up, she was crying. Quiet tears, not sobs. Just a slow stream, like her heart had cracked open and didn't know what to do with the flood. I don't know what to think, she whispered. Part of me wants to run to him. And part of me still hates what he did. I get it, I said. But he's trying. That counts for something. She nodded, then wiped her eyes. I think I want to meet him. Not to forgive everything all at once. But just to see if this is real. I reached for her hand. Whatever you decide, I said, I'm with you. That meeting was still ahead of us. There was no guarantee how it would go. But the door had opened just a crack. And sometimes, that's all you need to start something new. We agreed to meet him at a small coffee shop across town. Neutral ground. Somewhere without memories, without old family photos staring down from the walls. Just people and tables and the hum of espresso machines. She wore a simple dress and tied her hair back the way her dad always liked when she was younger. I noticed that. I think she was hoping he'd notice it too. We arrived 10 minutes early. He was already there. He stood when he saw us, same firm posture, same measured look in his eyes. But this time, something was different. He looked smaller somehow. Not physically, but in spirit. Like the weight of the past few months had made him realize how human he really was. Hi, Dad, she said. He smiled gently. Hi, sweetheart. We sat. The waitress brought coffee, and for a few minutes, we made small talk. Weather. Work. Her paintings. My shop. Then came the silence, the one we'd all been tiptoeing around. The one that held everything we hadn't said. I don't expect this to be easy, he said, finally. I want a chance to get to know the man you love. Without my own fears in the way. He turned to me. I was wrong about you. I see that now. I thought money and status meant everything. But you stood your ground, not just for her, but for yourself. That takes more strength than I had when I was your age. I nodded, surprised but grateful. Thank you. That means a lot. He looked back at his daughter. You've grown into someone brave. Someone who knows her worth. I didn't give you enough credit. I hope you can forgive me for that. She didn't answer right away. Her eyes glistened again, but this time, she didn't cry. I'm not ready to forget what happened, she said. But I'm ready to start over. Slowly. He reached across the table and placed his hand over hers. That's all I'm asking for. We sat there a while longer, talking, laughing a little, even sharing stories. Not everything was fixed, but something had shifted. A wall had come down. Later, as we walked back to the car, she slipped her arm through mine and leaned her head on my shoulder. That felt weird, she said with a soft smile. Yeah. Good weird or bad weird? Hopeful weird, she said. Like maybe this life we're building, maybe it's big enough to hold all the broken pieces too. I looked at her, the woman who chose me over everything she'd ever known, and smiled. Then let's build it, I said. All of it. Together. And as we drove home, the sun started setting, painting the sky in gold and quiet orange. Not a perfect ending, but a real one. The kind you fight for. The kind you stay for. The end.